Charles, this was set to be another protest here. Oh, well, first I want to say, Dr. StrangeGov.
It's awesome. The art department has outdone itself again, yet again. And it's really a very poignant topic because when we go back over now to examine Donald Trump's term, which I think has many accomplishments, but at the end seems to be an epic failure, one of the key things that really led to our present state of distress is the idea that was ingrained into our consciousness that governors could declare a state of emergency even when there wasn't necessarily a
proven emergency.
And so today, now that it becomes apparent that, let's just wait here for a little bit and see how it percolates. As it becomes apparent that Biden will be inaugurated on the 20th, suddenly Governor Cuomo has decided, after saying last week that we had to remain closed indefinitely, absolutely we've got to open up the state. And also I read this morning, and I haven't confirmed it, but I read someone reports that somebody has gone back over the CDC death statistics, and apparently they now say that 95% of them where they said were with COVID are not with COVID. Only 5% of the, so you look at that and you say, no, wait a minute. We had a constitution where over the course of Donald Trump's presidency, the people who resisted were not merely led, they were incited, they were fomented by Hillary Clinton and Obama every day. There were protests all the time. You'd see, it was like watching Baghdad Bob say when the troops were right behind him.
Right, mostly peaceful protests as the place is burning down.
Right. And in this, and that went on. The first BLM riots, the modern ones, started, I think, after March 16th or thereabouts.
Well, George Floyd, really, right?
When was that? But that was
May 25th. It was like.
But I'm just saying. But there were riots before that, BLM riots before that. I remember going to some. Eric Garner, Michael Brown, burn it down.
Yes.
So we've had a long history of violent protests, including. When women went into the Supreme Court, to the hearing room for Brett Kavanaugh, and stormed that hearing room.
Anything about that?
Right. So, and we had to put the crack, and I mean on crack team at the FBI to study whether Hillary Clinton mishandled classified information, and their solution was, well, why don't we destroy all the incriminating evidence, and then we'll conclude, of course she didn't do anything wrong. There's no evidence of that. We
haven't seen any evidence because we.
Right. We took care of that, and then you put the same. There's no political bias at the FBI, but you put the same team of married lovers, Lisa Page and Peter Strzok, on the case of establishing that there's nothing wrong in Hillary Clinton's behavior when everything was wrong with Hillary Clinton's behavior, and you put that team on the Crossfire Hurricane and the Russia hoax investigations, and there's nothing wrong with it. There's no political bias in management, none at all. And then when it comes to this January 6th riot. Alleged riot, we have ample evidence, including evidence that you put together, and of when we were down there on the 6th. We were there watching carefully what happened. And
sorry to interrupt, Charles, but why are the police leaving now that the Pfizer protest is happening?
Because probably Antifa is scheduled to come, which is why I suggest we stay right here.
We should also just fill people in, not to interrupt your flow there, but we're here outside Pfizer's worldwide headquarters, which I've been inside to record 3D interviews with their executives many, many years ago. But now today we have a protest against Pfizer here, which is not a pro-Trump, anti-Biden or anything like that. But we see some of our friends and associates over there, and this was originally canceled because of fears that Antifa would agitate, and I hope the cops stay here, although it doesn't matter, they're not going to do anything. They've proven that to us. We learned on Sunday, Charles, that we're living in the wild, wild west here.
All right.
The police flat out ignored a direct request from an unarmed, assaulted female for help. They just told her, no, go away.
Right, so if I could just return to my train of thought there. So in the case of the 4-year-long investigation, really it was a 5-year-long investigation, it should have been, In the case of that one involving Hillary Clinton and Donald Trump, I don't know what that is.
UN security is what that is.
Is that right? Where are they going?
And they're carrying guns.
Yeah, let's just keep on the flow for a second. So January 6th, we were there. We were eyewitnesses, and fortunately you videotaped 5 hours worth of footage. The protests we watched, the protesters we met were peaceful protesters, patriots who love this country, and just wanted to be there as a show of solidarity. You remember that when people thronged into Washington, D.C., as they should have, to mark the historic inauguration of Barack Obama, there was no issue with, I mean, I don't know if there were any protests then, but certainly for Donald Trump's inauguration, you can see for yourself there were protests during that inauguration,
And
including the fact...
everywhere and cops everywhere.
Well, you know, violence. Things were burned, and Trump was depicted as a pig, and, you know, graffiti and all that kind of stuff. So what we saw was largely a peaceful protest until, and it's unclear who agitated, until people decided to breach the building and try to go into the chamber. That crossed the line.
Climbing up on the building and the fixtures, you and I arrived and there were already people doing that. And it was clear to us from the beginning that, you know, it's one thing to stand around the building, or if there's no fence and no one telling you not to go in, to even stand on the lawn. But once you start climbing the fixtures and messing with stuff, that's not breaking fences and things.
Right, and to conclude immediately that Antifa was not in any way involved in that is crazy based on what we've seen. And now then to move from Kamala Harris saying during the campaign with the BLM riots that not only are they a good thing, but they should increase. They should, you know, she's egging them on.
Bailing people out.
Right, she's egging them on in 2020, and now it's a thought crime. I mean, we're in the business of saying that this person has has a profile of somebody who could theoretically...
No Twitter for you.
Yeah, no Twitter for you, no YouTube for you, no email for you, no mass email. I noticed today, for example, trying to use Gmail, that for whatever reason, it's tougher for me to forward stuff than it used to be. And that when I used to go and try to tweet out stuff on Zero Hedge, every time I want to do that now, which I don't anymore.
On it?
No, the protocol says you have to log on to Twitter. Well, I'm permanently logged on to Twitter, so it's just very strange. They make it tougher for one side to communicate, and of course the other side owns the mainstream press and owns social media, et cetera.
And Twitter.
And on the subject of Twitter, I was very interested. This will break some news here. I was very interested to use a tool that any of you in the audience can use called SEC's Edgar database. Go in there and take a look at the board of Twitter. I mean, the board of Twitter includes, there's something called Elliott Management, which is a very successful hedge fund run by a gentleman, a billionaire called Paul Singer. And he was, I believe, I checked this, Singer was the one who originally commissioned the anti-Trump dossier.
What?
On behalf of Singer's people, on behalf, I think, of either Jeb Bush or Marco Rubio or whatever. And when it became apparent that Trump would become the nominee, that dossier was transferred over to the Democrats. So, I mean, so here you have a senior board member who probably has a big stake in Twitter. Then you also have the former head of the World Bank, Bob Zoellick, who was under Obama, head of the World Bank.
Wow.
And so, I think it's under Obama. Anyway, so this Twitter is, and you look down the list, here's somebody taking pictures, look down the list of folks who are involved in that operation, and virtually every one of them, it would seem, is tied into partisan left-leaning activities. The board itself. I bet you if you looked at the political contributions of the board members and then of the firms for which the board members worked, you'd find that it was almost uniformly Democrat. So I don't know what this guy's problem is.
You all right?
Yeah, I'm wondering if you are.
Let's just don't engage.
We're fine.
Am I the topic?
No.
You're making yourself the topic. Why don't you go away?
Why am I making myself the topic?
Let's
Because you're talking to me.
Let's just get it.
Why don't you ignore me and I'll ignore you?
Did you talk to me first?
No.
No, I don't
Come
think
on,
so.
let's not engage with this idiot.
Have a nice day.
When you got on check it when you go back. You engage me. So,
All right, all right.
Whatever. Just go away, huh?
no, fuck you.
Okay, thanks. Have a nice day.
Yeah, that's what I say to clowns like you. If you don't like it, you can leave my city.
Your city.
Your city. Okay, I tell you what.
Where'd you come from?
Jason.
Shut up and go away.
You're from Kansas, right?
Sorry?
You're from Kansas, right?
Yeah, I'm from Kansas, asshole. Go fuck your mother. Get out of here.
Jason.
No, you act like you're not, so shut up.
Wow.
Hey, shut up and get away from me, asshole.
What are you gonna do?
What am I gonna do?
What are you gonna do?
No, Jason, stop.
What are you gonna do? Call the cops? Call the cops and tell them I'm
The
standing
cops
on
don't
the
do anything, so you don't want to know what I'm gonna do. Just leave us alone. Just leave us alone, you moron.
Right, another out-of-town tough guy.
Out of town tough guy. Ed,
Jason, we're
get
not
the
going-
fuck out of here and go back to Queens, you asshole.
You're an out-of-town tough guy. I went to take a picture and somehow you're engaging me in your nonsense.
If I wasn't here with a respectable individual, we would be having a different. Just shut up, asshole. Go
You
away.
want to throw down? You're talking a lot of shit.
See, now you got Antifa coming over taking pictures of us. Just get the fuck out of here, man.
Jason, we'll continue our dialogue. We'll ignore the guy. Eventually, he'll shut up. Okay? Just ignore him. So anyway, here you see the charged nature of the situation. You have before the police were set up to block the protesters being in front of Pfizer. Now they moved away. They moved to the other side of the street. No doubt, this clown was just talking to us. Of course, he's jaywalking.
I hope he gets hit by a car.
Right. He's a troublemaker, and he's probably in touch with other troublemakers whose goal is now to incite something. They want to turn this peaceful protest, which I hope is permitted. They want to
The
turn.
cops would have not let them set up if it wasn't.
Well, generally, when they do this, they put they force you to do it if it's permitted inside those barriers there, which are not yet set up. So I think that what they're trying to do now is encourage a fight, and clearly that
well,
idiot.
that guy was trying to.
Well, he's
And he's up to something because that guy's smaller than me, older than me, and of all the people we've encountered, I would have been most justified to crack that asshole's skull on the sidewalk.
Right. But they're looking for that. They're looking for trouble. This woman, I believe, have I seen her before?
I think we've seen her before.
Yeah, she's an agitator. No, I don't think she's an agitator. She was there at the Pershing Square, that one over in front of the New York Public Library.
With army boots on.
Right. Yeah. So I think she was meeting other agitators, and she had that bike. So let's just not engage them. All right.
I mean, yeah.
'Cause
I
it-
really didn't want to, but he turned around.
And see,
He
there's
turned around and stared at us, and I asked him if he was all right.
you
That's
see,
why.
there's a guy with a backpack. You see him?
Yes, I see
backpack
him
and a
wearing
mask.
mask outside.
Right.
I think we need to alert our friends to be very cautious of people with backpacks and masks.
Right. Well, you're currently videotaping that. There's a guy right there videotaping it. So, and where did that
Midget with the camera?
yeah, diminish go? Let's stay over here, Jason, for a while.
He went in there, yeah. Oh, sorry, Charles.
It's okay. So we see already a sensible person watching what social media has done is going to look at this and say, wait a minute, I just lost my First Amendment right. If the president loses his First Amendment right while president,
Unbelievable.
right, I lost my right to assemble peacefully. I lost the reasonable expectation that the police will intervene
Do anything.
to protect a conservative or to encourage robust debate. Instead, there is one answer. The answer is woke leftism, and anybody else who dares dissent runs the risk of eventually being rounded up and fired from their job and bounced out of your bank account maybe, and bounced off Twitter, bounced off YouTube. It's precisely the opposite of what the founders expected, and it is actually increasing the likelihood that there will be violence, not just in this country, but around the world, as people realize that the politicians are not servants, they're oligarchs, and they are puppets, in some cases, of dark and sinister forces who are plundering around the world, have been plundering around the world with these bankrupt policies of borrowing to fund crazy programs, to fight emergencies where there's no real proof that there was a type of emergency that they said we had to fear. And there's no accountability. Absolutely. In fact, there's the opposite of accountability. We're seeing that anyone who wanted to follow the science of whether or not there was fraud in the election,
Lost their career.
you know, there's no evidence. Hillary Clinton penning an editorial in the Washington Compost or op-ed saying that it's not enough for Donald Trump to be impeached. What you should do is you should be forced, in essence, and I'm paraphrasing, to renounce Trumpism. And other people suggesting that there should be camps. People should be sent to camps. We have the yesterday James O'Keefe, the great James O'Keefe at Project Veritas, the top lawyer for was it PBS?
Oh yes, I saw that.
Saying that the children of Trump supporters.
It was the top lawyer. They said he was a
top lawyer.
Yeah.
Senior counsel, whatever.
Yeah.
That he needed the children of Trump supporters need to be taken away from their parents and re-educated. I mean, does that sound familiar?
It sounds like a crazy person.
Right. So in the past, when we've seen these type of protests, I would say they're typically maybe 4 times as big as that.
Well, should we listen to what they're saying?
Yeah, I suppose we can. Well, let's stand to the side so that we're not blocked in. You know, I don't want to be checked from behind, so I'd like to stand.
Well, let's approach where you'd like to be.
Like over there?
You.
Over there, maybe?
I'll follow you.
All right, so we're on the periphery. Sorry. That's a sketchy looking license plate. Careful on this white van.
The whole thing is sketchy.
That's a big ass dump truck.
Yeah.
Let's go out in front, yeah.
Very necessary. Oh, maybe he's
So if we stand over here, basically.
Sure.
So if we're here, Jason, if you're back over here, then nobody can get you from behind. I mean, you can go out front, but I just want you to be aware of your side.
Look what we got here. Is that Fauci?
Oh, here's the guy.
Yeah, Curtis.
My body, my choice.
So from here, it'd be very tough to blindside us. Not impossible, but
We're right across the street, Charles, from the New York Daily News,
right.
formerly owned by Robert Maxwell.
Once owned by Robert Maxwell,
Yeah.
and also actually owned by the partner. Was it owned by Hoffenberg?
I thought that was the Post that he saved.
Did he own the Post? Okay. Yeah.
I don't know. He saved the Post somehow. I don't know the details. So let's see what some of the people have to say here.
I'm going to be sane and I'm going to be political for a second right here, okay? I'm actually going to try right now, all right? This company, this elitist, billionaire, trillionaire company just had the government hook them up with automatically vaccinating every single one of us in the city and stands to make billions and billions of dollars doing it. At the same time, our taxpayers here who are struggling are expected to pay for our health care while this crazy vaccine already has proven side effects. And these people don't even have the balls to send out a spokesperson to tell us what's going on. Where's your spokesperson, Pfizer? Get him out here.
Spokesperson!
Where's your PR team, Pfizer? Get
We're
him
not
out here.
Mavericks! We're not Mavericks!
I want to know how they're going to
You want the
expect
great
to give us a
That's right, yeah.
vaccine,
I was
somebody
just-
get harmed,
I was
and the New
just-
York City Medicare system has to pay for it instead of the guys
Which guy?
that the Medicare system is getting billions of dollars to vaccinate. That's what I want to know. And I want a spokesman out here or we're not leaving by the end of this day. You got to get a spokesperson out here and talk to us about how you are going to ease the pain of the people that are going to suffer the consequences of your crazy vaccine.
He was in Staten Island as well. But Sunday, at Union Square, there was a clusterfuck. Naked woman.
Naked, really?
Well, freezing her. I don't know how she did it. It had to be drugs because nobody could stay 3 hours like that.
Wow.
And
Who's next?
they were correct. Him, the guy with the bone, they're provocateurs. They make you, they're like controlled opposition.
Right, okay.
Of course it's involved, that prick. That prick.
Gates were crimes against humanity! Crimes against humanity! Fire Fauci!
Lock him up!
Fire Fauci!
Fire Fauci!
Fire Gates!
Fire Gates!
Fire Gates!
Fire Gates! He's already kissing Biden's ass.
Hi, my name is Kat McGuire, and I'd just like to say that we are at a very dangerous time in the history of humanity.
That's right.
Never before has a vaccine been introduced into the human body that alters the DNA. These psychopaths, and that's what they are, these billionaire psychopaths, want us to believe that this is for our health.
Yeah.
If this is for our health, why are we not having animal trials? Why are humans the guinea pigs for this? They're saying we have to rush it out at warp speed because this COVID pandemic is so dangerous. They will not share their numbers. There is no pandemic. There's a virus, but their numbers are all jiggered. They've cooked the books. They will not share their data. And they're saying all of these deaths justify the need for this extreme solution. Let me ask you, if you break your arm and you go to the doctor and the doctor says, we're going to have to cut your arm off. Oh my God, that's an extreme solution. Would you not want a second opinion? We were not given a second opinion for the extreme solution of locking us all down and now using the mask as the spear tip, get people inured to complying, and they've already got us under house arrest. We're going to be having another lockdown. They're saying this vaccine, you can't even call it a vaccine. It's a toxic injection.
We will not comply!
We will not comply!
And what they're saying is that this toxic injection that they want to give us is not even going to stop us from wearing the mask. It's amazing the inroads that they make and people just comply, in part because they've got 21st century fourth gen technology, fourth gen warfare technology that is for mind control. And so how does mind control work? Well, inmates in prisons, when they go in solitary confinement, that has been shown to be torture. When they have us under lockdown, all separate, that is micro doses of torture, which leaves you
Ideological subversion.
it leaves you destabilized. That plus we are social beings, so they know that's another way to destabilize us. And when people are destabilized and they don't feel like they have their full...
There's one of these nice old ladies came and mentioned that the guy in the beard, the guy who showed up with the camera, I forget where he is.
He's back over there.
Yeah, not that guy. Another guy who's with the beard, I guess. They suspect that they are agitators, that they're not actually trying to help here. And they do.
Tall guy with the hood and the beard?
With the mask, the black with the red bandana. and that guy speaking right now may well be on the other side. They're just, yeah.
Why do they suspect that?
That's what they. I'm just watching. The guy over there on the left, right past him. I don't want. He's trying to escalate the
Down
Pfizer
jacket and the hood.
Yeah, this guy's trying to escalate the Pfizer people to come out and fight.
Well, he's been here for a few weeks. You could be right, but
Yeah, I would prefer to come back. I think this is going to end very badly.
all right, let's just back up then.
Doctors and scientists talk about how ineffective, if not
Now that-
unhealthy, the masks are.
There's a guy on the phone or something.
Humanity buckle. How much inroads can they make? Because they have
You see that guy? I am not at a breaking point at all.
they have a 10-year plan.
Yeah, I mean that guy with the camera who's right over here doing whatever he's doing. This guy's a problem right here.
Yeah, see, I think what they're trying to do, they know they're going to instigate some kind of a thing, they'll throw a brick to the window or whatever, and then they'll say that all of us incited that action, this guy's action. I don't want to be a part of that.
All right, so let's keep backing up.
Yeah,
We're going to keep our eyes on this guy because I think this guy's here.
yeah, but
to
let's
cause a
not
problem.
engage with him either because he gives them a platform.
I'm not going to engage with him, but I think he's here to create a problem.
It's just, yeah.
So, all right, I mean, we basically know what's going on here, Charles.
He's just trying, and this is a very similar tactic to what happened at the Capitol. You know, encourage people to come over here, fill in over here, climb up this, climb up that, and push them into trouble. There's that old lady coming up with a...
Where?
Yeah.
Right there?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
With the exhibit.
Right.
I think what we should do is consider walking, either over to the UN and up and just let this play out a little bit. People see the early stages of it, then let's come back.
Sure. Where would you like to
We could go...
Across the street?
Yeah,
through the crowd?
We could go through... Well, I'd actually prefer to go across the street.
Yeah.
And then, it's not that I'm...
I understand
scared.
exactly
It's
what
just-
you're saying, Charles. We have to be, it's not scared, it's prudent. I mean, I have to try harder. We got a lot of sketchy people hanging out here in their cars. What are these people
Careful,
doing?
Jason. There's a car coming for you. They're watching.
They are watching.
Huh?
Good day, ladies.
Honey, we're on that road.
Yeah.
It's up to be forced vaccine.
Yeah.
You're not looking at the law, those corrupt judges.
Anybody under 40 with a backpack and a mask
It's suspicious.
is suspicious at this point.
So let's go that
Yeah.
way up to the UN, let this percolate, see what happens. The other thing I would say is that where I'm, fine to talk, to go and look at some of these rallies, when they start getting the anarchists up there and,
there's
people
plenty of people
taking
we
us
don't agree
into
with.
territory that is just, I'm just flat out against.
Right.
I don't want to necessarily be associated with those type of people, but
Right.
so what we are on now is the submission to globalist government. So we're going to go to the seat of global government, which is the United Nations.
Where we just saw 2 armed security guards walking around. What jurisdiction do they have? Like, why are they allowed to walk around with guns off of the UN grounds? No
I
one
don't
is
know.
allowed to have a gun in New York, but those guys are. So they could shoot somebody.
It's crazy. You know as well that UN employees don't pay taxes, federal, state, or
The
city.
whole thing has got to go, Charles.
Yeah.
I mean, oh, sorry, hang on. Keeping
wrong?
control of this thing is a little...
Let's give this guy in the backpack a little bit
Yeah.
of space. And actually, let's cross the street anyway.
Yeah. Charles, I've really been against gun ownership all my life. Didn't want to be around guns, didn't want to have a gun. But we're at a point where you're just not safe. The cops aren't going to do anything.
Right, which is what that wise-ass guy new
Right.
somehow.
That's what I mean. Midget idiots are emboldened to do idiotic crap. I just could tell that guy was photographing the crowd not because he was interested in it, he was casing it.
Yeah.
And so he stopped and looked at us. I think I just said, is everything all right? And he says, that's me engaging with him. He was scoping us out.
Again, there are no rules about
Right.
it. There's no, you talk to me first.
Right.
It doesn't mean anything. But what we see, Donald Trump, I don't want to write his epitaph. Obviously, I hope he lives many, many years.
Is
but
there anything that he could do at this moment, Charles?
I just think you reach a point where noon on the 20th, and people are going to start arriving in D.C. soon for the inauguration. You can't, if you're going to try to stop it, you'd want to be stopping it well before now. And we have Martin Luther King Day is on the Monday. So I think he's out of runway. I mean, I could be wrong. It could be proven wrong. But you saw the statement that may or may not be accurate from supposedly the members of the Joint Chiefs of Staff saying that Biden's going to be the next commander-in-chief. So all this ruckus about there's some military operation planned, that's either an amazing feint like as happened in the first Gulf War, or it's, the truth. And
What was the amazing feint of the first Gulf War?
well, it was really very well done. The storyline was,
Super cold over here, Charles.
yeah, no, we're going to make a left. We're proving our moxie. I'm not cold in my new coat.
Yes, that's a nice new coat.
Oh, thank you. But the feint in 91, or 90 and 91, was all coordinated chatter across the media saying, well, the only way to take Kuwait is to go in through the Gulf, and there'll be a lot of advance notice. We won't get cooperation from Iran, and we can't come in from the on the western side of Iraq, because you'd have to go through Turkey, and we'd have to people would see us all, and it's impossible to do it that way. When that's exactly what we did. We came in from the west, and there's a famous moment. I'm just holding my hat so it doesn't blow away. There's a famous moment in television history, frankly, when the spokesperson for the Iraqis saying there's absolutely no truth whatsoever to the troops
And they're
being
unloading behind him.
they're tanks,
Right.
gigantic tank turrets, so like pointed at the guy.
Well, it's exactly like the guy from ABC News saying, oh, we're here for a day of mostly peaceful protesting with the buildings on fire.
Right.
I mean, that is just comedy. That's literally like a Woody Allen scene.
Right. Art imitating life. But
The seat of global power, Charles.
here's these idiots.
Wow, that guy was
Driving
really
at
close
speed.
to running into us.
Right, we have the
And
right
we're
to
on the
cross.
sidewalk.
Yeah, we have the right to cross here. But of course we can't do it.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
right. We had the light in that moment.
Right.
Wow, that guy
And here's the guy going through a light.
through the light. Great. Well done. This looks European.
He's probably going to now sue the city.
For what?
He went over a big
Oh.
thing, and Range Rover went from right to left.
So, I mean, unless this is the most epic military feint in history, which there's really no indicator that that is.
Right. What we're seeing is, I mean, if we look at the steps that are being taken against President Trump now while he's still president,
Right.
and now, and the ravings coming out of Hillary Clinton's mouth and being put into the Washington Post, owned by Jeff Bezos personally, we look at, wow, this was closed on the 10th of March.
Yeah.
So that's before the
Just
pandemic.
close it permanently.
Yeah, that's a good idea. Department of Operational Support.
Oh, Charles, look, the flags are back.
They've always been here.
No. This is actually the first time we've seen them
Really?
since, yeah. But they're back.
They're back. Good to know. So, speaking of completely useless organizations that are expensive and waste a lot of time, money, and energy and are debilitating across the planet, here is Exhibit A in that list.
Yeah. These guys probably don't want me to film them, but I don't care what they want.
Well, we're not.
Sorry.
We're on the sidewalk.
Yeah, they'll say that inside these barriers are their property and whatever, but I say they're an invading force and they should get the hell out of here.
And look, here's this complex that went up whenever it did, and look at across the street. I mean, that's kind of a nice old building, but this is really, I'd argue, an unsightly pair of buildings. Why is it still here?
I don't know. I just realized that piece of artwork looks like an eyeball to me.
Which piece? Oh, that one? Yeah, could be. But here, in a normal moment in New York City history, on a work day, today is, after all, a Wednesday, at this time of day, even though it's 39 degrees, it's not that cold.
That wind was brutal.
Yeah, but you would see a lot of people. You'd see more car traffic. There's nothing going on.
In foot traffic, there's none.
Of course, there's no reason to come into the city because most of the stores and restaurants are either closed or about to close.
And offices are closed.
And people are working remotely, and it's getting, and whatever work they need to do in certain industries is happening.
Well, now that there's no police force, essentially, and we are daily seeing increasingly militarized, marauding gangs,
right,
we must open the city and encourage people to eat outside in the cold and and open their businesses now that they're out of money, their spirits are broken, there's no customers to buy anything.
Right.
Open, Dr. StrangeGov.
Yeah. So going back though to the contrast, Hillary Clinton refused to come out and give a concession speech the night of.
Oh, yeah.
Then she shows up the next morning dressed like she's in the same program with Klaus Schwab, a ridiculous purple outfit with Bill Clinton in his purple resistance tie.
Galactic.
And Brennan is at warp speed, and Weissman and others are actively plotting by every lawful and possibly many unlawful means, every way to resist the president. I saw the next day in Manhattan, I saw "Not My President" spray painted many different places on the sidewalk, on walls. And we have many people who refuse to accept the legitimacy of the presidency. They fought him at every turn. As we speak right now, there's limited debate going on in the House and likely to lead to his impeachment again today. And there are even rumors floating around that, I'm sorry to use this phrase, but Bitch McConnell, got to call a spade a spade.
He's happy about it.
He's happy about it, yeah.
I thought they already impeached him. I thought this morning it started.
Well, it's happening right now. I mean, the proceedings started, I think, at 9.
Yeah.
We'll stay on the sidewalk here away from that cop. I mean, like this trajectory as opposed to, yeah. So that's going on as we speak. And Liz Cheney, who frankly is a disgusting
demon spawn of one of the most
right. But third highest ranking Republican in Congress is voting for impeachment, as is that loser Adam Kinzinger and a few other people. I mean, the people who think that...
Sorry, Charles, briefly, just 1 minute. What do we need a cop here for?
I don't know. It's just probably standard practice. Who knows? But the people who believe that by dissing Trump, you're strengthening the Republican Party have lost their minds. I mean, to see the way Republicans like Brian Kemp, and the governor of Georgia, who Trump campaigned for, right? The way he turned on Trump, Ducey in Arizona and others, anybody who would at this point be loyal to the leadership of the Republican Party is an idiot. Yeah, and I also think, I mean, even Angela Merkel, who's not very high on the IQ chart in my view.
Joe Biden? Sneaking up behind us?
Yeah, trying to whiff your hair there, sniff your hair. Even Angela Merkel and some of the European leadership gets the danger posed by the deplatforming of a sitting president. Because if it can happen to Trump, it can happen to anybody.
I can't believe they're allowing it to stand.
Yeah.
To show the world that Twitter has power over the president of the United States. Charles, think about it like this. What if Twitter never existed? Right. What if NBC, ABC, New York Times said, no, we're not the president's giving a speech, but we don't want you to hear it.
Right.
And they all work together to prevent the president from speaking to the people of the United States and the world. That's essentially what Twitter is attempting to do.
If we had, and I don't think we do have, but if we had a Justice Department that was prepared to enforce antitrust provisions, this recent deplatforming of a sitting president across many different business lines was done in concert.
Absolutely.
And it illustrates the power that Twitter has built up under the protection of Section 230 or
Communications Decency Act, Section 230. It's 47 USC, Section 230.
Not that you know that by heart.
I've been reading it a lot.
So we'll wait here for a
But the
second.
destruction of Parler also, Charles, they're saying not only are we controlling if you have speech or not, any competitor that comes up
Right.
in the spirit of capitalism to create an alternative for you, we're going to destroy.
Right.
So you have no option whatsoever. We control the ideas.
It's more greater control. I think these social giants and media giants and frankly the brand name academic operations, which are really for the profit of the administrators and the donors and the professors, this cabal has far more power right now
Than the president.
Well, than John D. Rockefeller had. It's really amazing. And the people who feed off the swamp are like, yeah, that's the way it's going to work. We don't forget about a diet for us. And the attitude of the person who we had the misfortune of speaking to just a moment ago, that guy who's taking pictures.
Yeah.
He's dumb enough to telegraph that there is a plan, that he knows what the plan is, and he knows he's totally covered, and we're not covered, we're exposed. That was his behavior in my mind.
I agree.
And so what is that plan? Who's behind the plan? Who's financing the plan? George Soros.
There's other people who know about that plan too, Charles.
Right.
Or they know a piece of the plan sufficient to convince them to become involved.
Right.
But as you're saying, what they don't realize is towards the end of that plan, it's going to be like the Joker when he's done with the bank robbery, he turns around and kills all the henchmen.
Right. Exactly. Well, that's the thrust of this book I keep urging people to read by Paul Kengor called Dupes.
Yeah.
The history of these type of movements is replete with idiots like the guy taking pictures, talking smack to people they shouldn't talk smack to, and then finding themselves, dead, staring through lifeless eyes. Now, another thing that I found interesting is that one of the chief people in the House that Pelosi's dealing with is somebody DeLaura. If you can move up a little bit. Sorry. Congresswoman DeLaura is a senior, long-time serving Democrat who. You okay?
I'm fine. I'm slowing down.
No, you don't have to slow down.
Okay.
Long-time serving Democrat who's chair of the House Appropriations Committee, who I think also has some role with the American Communist Party.
Oh, what?
Yeah.
The House Appropriations Committee, and isn't AOC on there now? Or?
Yeah.
What?
There's another bright bulb.
What the hell does she know? I mean, I want to know, did they even allow her to order coffee at the Starbucks? Or she's now on the House Appropriations Committee?
Yeah.
And that's like basically
Either that or
everything-
oversight. I forget.
Oh, oversight. I think you're right. Right, because I said she needs somebody to oversee her. She needs
Right.
a babysitter.
So we're at this moment in history. We've had other moments in history like this where we're heading the wrong way. And it's just, we don't know how long we're going to go into the wilderness. We do know there's a significant question as to whether we can come back.
Yeah, we're deep in uncharted waters here.
Right. I mean, the appointees being mooted, there's some plan to combine the impeachment proceeding with the confirmation process so as to speed it. Both
What?
things along. Yep.
Confirmation of what?
Of Biden's cabinet nominees.
What?
Yep. I mean, they're using. Remember, Biden was in the Senate forever. He knows Mitch McConnell from the Senate, and there are lots of backroom deals that get cut in the Senate. So that's Mitch's whole thing. He cuts backroom deals, and on a ray of hope, There's this general called General Spaulding, who actually our friend from Norway is well acquainted with now. And he's a good guy, Bob Spaulding. You see him on mainstream media of all kinds. He's now drawing attention to the fact that the response to the coronavirus that has been coordinated, destroying this city and others, looks to him like it's part of a conspiracy, frankly, likely financed by the Chinese and others, and maybe Iran as well. And that's going to be...
That's the new name of the whole city.
And of the White House. Dead end, Department of Transportation.
Department of Going Nowhere.
Yeah.
These guys are here from Minnesota.
Delivering fruit
Seems like a long way to drive.
in a nice car. So I don't think we've walked up this way before.
We haven't, and you know, I'm reminded by these tents, Charles, as I was approaching the Pfizer building, I passed the Empire State Building, and that Waldo's wood-fired pizza is out of business.
Oh, that's a nice place.
I know, and also there's like a pretty big cafe right across the street from the Empire State Building, which struck like a full, like a greenhouse that you'd have, and it's an enclosed room. And the thing that's amazing is all the people are sitting in there having their coffee and sandwiches. They have the masks off and they're sitting close to each other.
That's ridiculous.
And I mean, it's literally like children think you're inside a magic bubble. And in here, we're safe from the virus if we're 5 feet away from people. But outside, I'm going to yell at you and start a fight.
Right. Store after store gone. Now this is, what would you call this section of New York? It's not, it's a strange section. It's not far from Sutton.
Turtle Bay, is it?
I think it's
Too
north.
far uptown.
Yeah, I think it's kind of close to Sutton Place.
They've come up with a lot of new names for neighborhoods so that real estate agents can have like some kind of fancy thing to call it.
Yeah. Some premium, you know.
What is, I guess D'Agostino's is.
Dag bag.
Yeah.
But yeah, a lot of UN workers, frankly, live around here. And then just a bit east, further east, is Sutton Place and Beekman Place. There we go.
More out of business stuff right here.
Yeah, and then of course, what the city needs is more stands like this that don't pay rent and don't pay taxes and don't collect taxes. Yeah. This, these are, if we were, which I don't recommend we do, but if you go further east, there's some very nice buildings over there, but it's basically far away from everything.
Yeah.
No subways.
Right. Not a lot of taxis driving over there.
And I find this area kind of run down, frankly, but then again, the whole city is now run down.
Right. It's terrible.
So, during the Trump period, there was no persecution of Hillary Clinton or Bill Clinton or
That was one of his
Obama.
biggest mistakes.
Yeah, I mean,
Not
for crimes.
persecution, but prosecution.
For actual crimes.
Right.
It was almost as if they left.
What do you think of that place, Charles?
That's a nice old typewriter.
Yeah, this is kind of like a.
I think
this reminds me of that other. You know what I'm talking about? The other pharmacy, Winslow or whatever.
Bigelow's.
Bigelow's, yeah.
Bigelow's is clean. I mean, I think what we would do if we were going to have fun is we'd walk in there and say, "Excuse me, do you have any dust rags?"
Yeah.
And say, "No, of course we don't." Yeah, that's obvious. Look at the window.
Yeah.
Yeah, you should change that policy. I mean, I have a high tolerance for dirt, but that's well past my dirt tolerance point.
Charles, there's a lot of people who are skeptical of everything, and I appreciate that. And they've been saying all along, you know, Donald Trump is part of this. It's all a script. It's all a plan. That woman was going to say something, but I just don't have the patience.
We're man.
She stopped in shock, looking at us like, could you believe? It's like as if my face were ripped off and hanging from my chin. I don't think I would have seen a more shocked look on that woman. The countenance she wore, Charles.
It was, unbecoming.
No, it was terrible. But anyway, there's a lot of people say, oh yeah, Trump's an actor and he's part of this and it's all planned, and the Jesuits and the Jews and the Vatican
Right.
and the Rockefellers and everybody.
Did you learn that up at the Harlem Barber Shop that Eddie Murphy does so
I get
well?
it in the chat room, but I'm saying, I don't know. I don't feel that that's correct. I feel like he was legitimately trying to do
absolutely.
this.
But he was stymied in the end, I think, unless...
I think he made some critical mistakes. There is blame to be put on him.
Sure, well, he trusted Sessions. He allowed his son-in-law to retain Jamie Gorelick, which was a big mistake. She had been the number two.
He can't be trusted. Jared, I'm sorry. He's a traitor. A traitor to his father-in-law. I don't know what that guy's story is, but...
Yeah, but it was a huge error.
Is that Michael Cohen?
Michael Cohen is another one. That's not Michael Cohen there, but...
It looked a little like him.
Easy with that kind of talk, Jason.
What do you mean?
All Jewish people look alike.
Oh.
Coming
I didn't know
from you.
that guy was Jewish. He just looked like Michael Cohen.
All right.
Oh, easy on that, Charles. But seriously, there's something going on with Michael Cohen because he's being heavily
He's a rat.
promoted. No, obviously, but I'm saying, I think, look, at some point he went from being Trump's lawyer to being a rat. So somebody could have said something to him where it's like, look, either you're going to jail for the rest of your life, or we're going to pay you a bunch of money to have a podcast and write books and come out against Trump. And the reason I say that, Charles, is that this is exactly what this same aligned crew, they got to step out of the way, Charles. Dangerous, hazardous material coming down the street.
Right.
Those women, like we could have been carrying nuclear waste and they wouldn't have looked more frightened.
Right.
But the point is they want to get somebody on the inside and turn them. That's one of their tactics for sure. I think that a lot of these people that we've been seeing, Tracy Beans, George Webb, people say, oh, don't talk about other YouTubers or whatever. They are the online equivalent of an Antifa. They can't have people in black clothing come into my apartment and beat up you and I while we're doing slide presentations, but they are still using the same techniques. Inserting undercover agents, infiltrating, trying to gain information, and then at the right moment to strike and get you in trouble.
Right. So
Bishop Gators.
So what I was saying is that the retribution has already begun. We see it in what they're doing to try. I mean, it's sort of a good thing that they can't send out blast emails asking for money because it's getting kind of tired. I mean, the principle that I, who have less than $10 billion, should give money to somebody worth $10 billion to further that person's political and maybe ultimately business future is not a winning sales argument. You know, but to then send me 10 emails a day for 4 years asking for money, saying, we're sending you this email because you're one of Trump's most loyal supporters. I've not given one penny. You sent me 4,000 emails or whatever. If I'm one of your most loyal supporters financially, then you got some serious problems. But
I think they say that to everybody. They get your email address and they just send you that stuff all the time. I guess those emails must work, or people wouldn't be sending them around. But I agree. I hate getting them.
But in contrast, I sent you the one sent to me by the DNC. They want me to host an inauguration party for Joe Biden. And, and they address it to Dear Charisse, CHIARISSE. Yeah, I'm just drop everything, including I'll change my name. There's 3333 or 333.
That's exactly what I was looking at.
So, the contrast, and we do see. Remember, the tech titans went to D.C., I think, to testify both before the House and the Senate, and they sat there and they just
lie.
They just spent the entire time lying to Congress. No, we're apolitical. We don't do anything that would interfere in any election process anywhere. Michelle Obama says that Donald Trump needs to be off Twitter. Boom, he's off.
Well, and other countries are now upset as well. Germany and France and Mexico, as they should be. I mean, they need to be aware that this stupid company has the ability to control international politics.
Right.
We've never faced anything like this.
And another thing is in the Google search results. I don't know if you've noticed that. I've had great difficulty getting to appearances that I've done on Google search results. And so a company that started out saying don't be evil, I think has become evil incarnate. Who was that psychiatrist who said that in 2016 Google switched a bunch of votes, millions of votes, and then his wife died mysteriously?
Oh yeah, his last name was Epstein,
yeah,
right?
Dr. Epstein.
Well, and he's got even more research now after the 2016 election. He presented some really compelling evidence.
16 or 20?
I saw him just before the 2020 election presenting new evidence that they had gathered. Oh, no, maybe it was after the 2020 election. It was talking about Google, 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 Google. Right there. Check.
You good?
Yeah. So he had a lot more results. I mean, it's clear we're being persecuted on the internet, while
not just on the internet soon. It's going to be
everywhere in real life,
yeah.
Right? Oh.
And we saw that a little, just to reprise the walk into Culture Park on Sunday. We saw that where young people of color can look at white people and just say,
"You're a Nazi.
You're racist."
You're
based on what?
Right. By the way, that is racism.
Yeah. But people of color, by definition, can't be racist.
That's what they think.
That's the way the law will be enforced under this administration. You watch. I mean,
Biden already said it. If they were Black Lives Matter at the Capitol, the cops would have been very different. Maybe they wouldn't have let him in, and the whole problem would have been averted. How do we address that? That people were let in. They're
very suspicious. Very, very suspicious. And
Raptor, Charles.
What?
Ford Raptor go.
Yeah.
I mean, my general policy when the police, they've done it a million times. People have seen it on camera. They say stand over there, and I go there, and another cop says don't stand here.
Right.
So then I go to where that cop tells me to stand. But generally, when a cop tells you go there, like opens a barricade and waves their hand for you to come through,
right,
normal people will follow what the cop says. And then if you find yourself in a building that a week later they come and arrest you for being inside, how does that work?
Yeah, exactly. And so,
Oh, your favorite restaurant, Charles?
Whole Foods, yeah. Go in there and slobber on the. Do they have the prepared food section open, or are those closed now?
I haven't been in a while, but yeah, it was like closed. When I was there, it was late at night, and they had it seemed like it was set up so that a person would stand there and get you the food and bring it to you. So I haven't tried that.
I hope people aren't drinking at present, but over there at 227, that building, I think in one of those stores used to be a really interesting lock set, and plates to cover, switches, plates to cover, doorknobs.
Isn't that it? Klein
no,
kitchen and bath?
That's decorative wall finishings. That's different.
That's the most burly looking. I guess it's just the jacket. Some regular security guy.
Yep.
Something's not working about this. What? Damn it. I just lost my phone.
What happened?
The phone came off of this.
Here.
Oh, you have it. Great. This is better than gloves. I lose it all the time, but so far I've been getting it back. Now, how did that happen? All right. Sorry, Charles. All right.
You're falling apart there, Jason.
Well, I just...
Did you lose anything else?
No. My mind, perhaps. There we go.
So again, we're on 57th Street heading west, and this is a major east-west cross street, which on a work day, on a Wednesday, normally would be jammed
Yeah.
if the economy were humming, if this economy were humming, which of course it isn't. And you can see that in the light foot traffic, you can see it in the light car traffic, you can see it in the fact that stores are basically, many of them closed.
Not only not humming, it's like
Spiraling.
it's playing taps.
But I see you sent that nice birthday present to somebody.
Balloons? No, I'm sorry. I didn't send any birthday presents.
Back in the roaring 80s, what people used to do is to get their bosses in trouble is they would hire, they would get somebody to come in for an interview, and the person would
be a stripper.
Yeah, but then would start, they'd have a boom box and like turn it up really loud and then start stripping in front of that kind of stuff is not happening.
I wasn't present for this, but rumor has it that Michael Bay, who is not always known to be well liked, the director of Transformers and other things, the crew, which did not like him for his birthday, hired a stripper to strip for him on the set on his birthday, and as it turns out, when she got down to the panties,
Wasn't a she?
there was a surprise, and he was not happy at all.
Wow.
Yeah, see, this is now...
So now we're several blocks away from Trump Tower, and I think around here we generally, don't we get interference at 57th
Maybe.
Street?
If there is any interference, I'll do an assembly and a director's cut on patreon.com/crowdsourced.
We could go down one block.
Yeah, sure, let's do it.
And
You've also just reminded me, Charles, there's one other thing that I want to tell people about. It's really important if people are interested in helping me shut down lawfare, that people join the Counter Lawfare Fund and support the Counter Lawfare Fund. There's a threat of a new lawsuit being introduced in California by George's brother, and he denies working with the EMMYs, but he's certainly taking cues from what they're doing because he's going to sue my corporation because he knows I can't defend it pro se, and he's going to force me to hire more attorneys. So,
now what is that guy doing walking down the median with a backpack
let's take a look.
and a mask? Young guy, backpack and a mask.
The median? Oh, that guy, yeah. Yeah, he's definitely looking like a troublemaker. Hang on, I gotta restart this because it's
Okay.
not working
right.
properly. We can keep walking while I do that.
So we're now to 56th Street, and Trump Tower ends on 56th Street. Huh? Well, thank you.
Thanks. I'm gonna just stick that in my pocket because thanks.
Thanks.
Hey, you got it.
Thank you very much. Stick that in my pocket or I'll never see it again.
Let's go this way.
Sure.
Sorry.
See, the other thing I would be wary of, Charles, is people with new winter gear. 'Cause
Right.
if we've got West Coast guys who are now hanging out, agitating in the city, and that's the second person I've noticed wearing, what is that brand that's got Australia on the patch?
Is it Australia or is it
Antarctica?
Antarctica? Yeah, it's. I know what you mean.
But that guy had a brand new jacket. And I mean, again, anybody, I guess in New York, if you're a Biden supporter, yeah, it's mostly only works at a Trump thing if you see somebody wearing a mask. Do you think MGA Mechanical has to change their name because it's too close to MAGA?
I don't know. Man, oh man. It's cold to be out here like that.
Yeah.
I mean, this is eerie how quiet it is. This is Lexington Avenue and 56th Street at noon on a Wednesday is a tomb.
It's unsettling. It's very unpleasant to be in New York City right now.
Yeah.
I mean, frankly, Charles, I hope that the first thing that Joe Biden does is change the name of this country, because we're no longer in America, and it's a disgrace to the former.
Yeah, the disunited.
Wait a minute. Something just happened here. Didn't even notice it. Huh. Wait a minute. I don't know. Maybe not.
This is interesting. I haven't been in this block quite a while, but that you would have a vacant lot on 56th and Lexington is amazing to me. Right? This is used to be prime real estate.
Well, that parking lot there? Yeah,
Oh, that one there.
Yeah, somebody would be building a building, you would think.
Yeah, I mean, you've got the people I know in the business explain, in the real estate business explain that in this low interest rate environment, what you want to do is you want to get a construction loan and be on a glide path to a real mortgage, and you turn that asphalt into something that could be worth $500 million or whatever. And so you suck it up for a few years renting it out. At least you got an asset that's on the books at $500 million, as opposed to whatever it's on the books for now.
Not much.
I mean, that doesn't even look like a real parking lot,
No,
frankly.
it doesn't. It's just some people parking their cars there. Like whoever
Probably the
owns
owner of the lot.
Yeah, whoever owns it.
I want to have my own parking space.
It is very unusual to see that.
Yeah. And then the graffiti's nice.
It looks pretty new, most of it.
Yeah. Those tags, I think there's probably a dictionary of those different tags. You should be able to figure out who each one of them is. It's the ones that repeat around the city.
Yeah.
And it's
Look,
fitting.
Zimbabwe.
And then across from the Republic of Zimbabwe, you have, a construction project. Not so much. This used to be the Lombardy. Used to have a very nice bar in it. I think that's probably gone at this point. Shanghai Commercial Bank.
Yeah, wow.
Name one place where Donald Trump is not going to get a loan. This place.
There was an article, maybe it was Zero Hedge, talking about how Xi is ecstatic and very...
As well he should be if they pull this off.
They've pulled it off, Charles. The country is a wreck.
Yeah. We had
if a bomb had dropped from an airplane onto Manhattan and destroyed a localized area of Manhattan, or several bombs, I don't think you'd have 40% of the businesses out.
This is the equivalent of a neutron bomb. It's a cyber bomb, cyber attack, where we've accepted submission around the country, around the world, the idea that you need to wear a mask. Not a clean mask, not a sterilized mask, you just have to have a mask on. And then the facts and figures come out that 75% of the cases are caught at home. 75.
We've asked this question before, Charles, but if there were any problem at all that you were facing and you set about to resolve it, and after 10 months your approach wasn't working, would you say, listen, crew, we need to double down on this approach and keep doing what we're doing that's causing an epic failure? Or would you say, we need to totally reevaluate?
I'd say, bring me Dr. Fauci.
Right.
And Dr. Birx and the people who foisted this hoax on us, and let's figure out how to make them pay for it.
Well, pay, I'm not as interested in as solving it even now, or I just think
Well, we've submitted to a regime where we're not making up our own minds. We follow the dictates of supposed experts.
Who don't know what they're doing.
Who have been proven not to know what they're doing. And we just keep doing it. Now let's stay a little away from these guys here.
Yeah, that definitely doesn't look good.
This is a new building I hadn't seen before. It's kind of nice, big windows.
Okay.
Is it an apartment building?
Can't tell.
Must be offices.
Nice parking. This is actually a pretty nice concept.
I know, it's apartments.
Enter. So I don't think we'll be able to go up 56th. That's it. That's like, I looked at investing in Iron Mountain. It pays a high dividend, but it's a crap business.
I was looking at Abraham Lincoln.
Oh,
And mostly I was looking at the photograph of Abraham Lincoln and thinking about how that was representative of basically the highest technology available. The concept of photography had to be amazing to people in 1860s.
Didn't it come in the States in 1840 or something like that? 1840.
You know what? I am a little rusty right now on the exact date, but it was very specialized
Right.
and very high end, and you had to be pretty wealthy to have a photograph taken of you and that kind of thing. And but when you look at that, you see the wrinkle. Actually, there's many aspects of photography in those days that are higher
go over
quality than what we have today in terms of the resolution and the chemicals that they used. I mean, obviously they were using like toxic crap, but they gave you great photos. And
Killed you, but gave you.
there's the Secret Service
Where?
probably getting ready to stage another false flag or
Is
allow
that-
one to happen.
Is that that street we can walk in? I think.
Yeah, we can go right through there. But the point is, you know, when Abraham Lincoln was the president, technology wasn't very much of a concern. And as you just said, what's happening to us right now, there's absolutely a cyber warfare component, there's a psychological warfare component, there's an information warfare component, a biological warfare component.
Right.
I mean, this is World War III, and everybody thinks that it's just Donald Trump making a bunch of stupid decisions.
Right.
I should say everybody on the Biden side. We are just so, I don't know.
Been softened up for the coup de grace.
What is this building here?
Was the AT&T building, then it became the Sony building.
Oh, right, Sony, right.
Dylan Reed was going to be in there, but it was too fancy, so we went in building over there.
Too fancy for Dylan Reed.
Yeah, it was
Hard to
really
believe.
grandiose. But yeah, they've been spending a lot of time and money trying to fix this thing up. Why, I don't know, because it was in pretty good shape before.
Well, but this is the Trump Plaza atrium, and this is all the security. What happens?
That's the IBM Plaza. Actually.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't realize. I thought it was part
No.
of Trump Plaza. But you can get to it from being inside Trump Plaza.
Can you? Go
I'm
ahead.
pretty sure, because I've been in there. I think it's connected.
I've been in there for sure.
I think
many
it's connected.
times.
But what's going to happen with all this police protection after Trump leaves office?
I don't know. He's going to look at this and knock this down.
Wow.
They're doing their level best to make the area around Trump Tower as unappealing as possible.
It's just terrible. What's going
I remember, actually, I've seen Donald Trump a few times, and one of them I was in with my Indian friend having a drink in the bar there, and he came in, and he was just casing the joint, trying to see who's there.
Trump?
Yeah. He's looking around, who's here? You know, maybe I could say hi to somebody. He didn't talk to us. But,
I didn't realize there was an Armani restaurant.
you know, I mean, either.
Should like gravy on that tie, Charles?
But what kind of, is it eerie calm?
I don't know if I
Eerie.
would call it calm. It's an eerie quiet.
Yeah, eerie quiet.
It's tension, as far as I.
Yeah, or eerie tension, exactly.
Yeah, here's Armani Ristorante, Fifth Avenue. I had no idea that was there.
It was there is the key word.
Right.
How long it remains there is another question. These guys are looking pretty military. Army veteran. And there's a big camera.
Why? Yeah, I mean,
Well, probably photographing footage of the tower on the day of his impeachment.
what's going on over there? There's somebody demonstrating. Should we check it
Huh?
out? Should we see what this person has to say?
Sure. Oh, it's a fake Donald Trump. In orange suit. I'm amazed that there's no security here. That's actually Donald Trump. Pretty funny with the mask.
Wait a minute, just
Oh. Impeach and remove. It's impeach and remove. This is in the jumpsuit.
Yes. Almost.
Did you get bored?
Come back at 5:30.
Did you get bored?
What's happening at 5:30?
Come back at 5:30.
Yeah, what happens if I say
More people come to protest.
I'm not going to do that.
Hey,
Whoa.
hey.
Let's go that way.
What's happening at 5:30?
A protest.
Sorry?
A protest.
Protest here
Yeah.
at 5:30?
Yeah. That's not news, but I mean, they're protesting them everywhere.
All right. Have a nice life, moron.
The guy with the pit bull is smart.
Why was he smart?
Because if you had a pit bull, there's a lot of people who'd be eaten by now.
If you had a pit bull, you wouldn't have to feed it.
Correct.
Yeah, again, at normally this time of year, this is really the first, second, I suppose, full week. And you want to set up your business. You have planning meetings. You want to have marketing pipeline reviews. You want whatever line of work you're in. You got to get business going in the first month. Right? I'm sure that's the way it was with your business. Every business I've ever been involved with.
Usually we'd come into a new year with some gig set up that we
Right.
were getting ready to go do. Because everybody's kind of waiting around November.
Right.
Particularly for the type of stuff that we would do, because it would be planned well in advance.
Right. And so here we are walking down a street that's basically mostly vacant. Prime shopping real estate in the old days. We do have a holiday weekend coming up, 3-day weekend with Martin Luther King Day on Monday.
There's a movie in production, Charles.
What's that?
Well, we got this big
Oh.
lift with the Arri lights. Well, I don't know, maybe. Yeah, no, there's probably a movie down there. I don't know, maybe that's not for a movie, but those are
A grand opening of nothing.
some giant ass.
I mean, you could roll a bowling ball down Fifth Avenue.
You could.
And you
And
might
not hit anybody.
Right.
Perfect place for people and their idiot kids to go scootering.
Yeah. If you want to waste money on watches, those are nice watches. Breguet. But
It feels exceptionally dead today.
yeah.
Like, where is everybody that has previously, like, why? It's weird.
This used to be Gucci a long time ago. Now it's empty.
This microphone is great, but it's difficult
Thank you. Yeah.
to deal with.
Want us to go out in the crosswalk so you can run us over?
Yeah.
Now we don't want to put the camera on her when we get close to her, but there's an example. This is super high-end shopping real estate, and here's a homeless woman. Got to be freezing on the sidewalk there.
Microsoft store.
One near the Microsoft store, exactly. Monopolies create that, and if the city, if de Blasio, de Cracio, and others truly cared, I guess maybe it's a homeless guy, tough to tell, or a couple even. It's a couple.
Yeah, and they actually look like not.
Army vet.
Those are not hardened New York homeless.
Yeah, but to have a city in this place where the governor of our state, the most important city, arguably from a financial standpoint, in America, it has been shut down since March. We've got homeless people living, crapping, pissing on the street. We've got dogs doing shit everywhere. We've got rats everywhere, garbage everywhere, not necessarily right here, but on side streets. And we're spending as a country over $7 trillion in government. Government workers are at home, not working, many of them, getting their salaries, building up their pensions, something you can't get in the private sector. And we just take it. The protest out of D.C., I think, was an expression of frustration over this. It's not really ineptitude, it's malfeasance on the part of the public servants. We're not public servants. They're government oligarchs.
Yeah.
And the genius response of Joe Biden, Hunter Biden, is the smartest person I know, is to say, what I want to do is I think maybe stoke tension by announcing on my first term, one of the first things I want to do is ram an immigration bill through. Then I'm going to take guns away. And I mean, and all the while, I'm not going to give the 75 million people who are absolutely against him, a chance to vent their frustrations without engaging in violence.
Well, how about even having a chance to seek redress of grievances?
Right.
They don't even have that.
So there's that fake Trump guy walking the other side of the street. Let's stay away from him or her.
We're not going to go near him, but why is he doing that?
Who knows?
It's amazing that you're safer in New York City walking down the street
as a Trump in prison guard
than you would be wearing a
MAGA
Make
hat.
America Safe hat. Yeah, Make America Great hat.
You can't say massa. Sounds too much like master.
That's actually a better, I'm kind of more interested in making it safe. I'd rather be less than great and safe.
What about make America safe and secure again?
It cannot be great unless it's safe.
No, I meant safe and secure. Say Masasa.
So now we're back over here at Rockefeller Plaza, Charles.
Yeah, ordinarily, this time of year, you have the January sales. The high-end retailers have got returns coming in. They want to get those back out, and so they have sales. You got nothing going on here. It's distressing.
Yeah.
And how in the hell is New York City or New York State, these other high-tech states, how are they going to balance their books? How are they going to pay off the debts they've accumulated? How are they going to satisfy the obligations, pension and other obligations to their retired workers?
I don't know, but I mean, at what point do we acknowledge that the United States has become a technocratic socialist republic rather than
not
a
republic.
Constitutional republic?
It's not a republic.
Well, what is it?
I mean, your vote doesn't count. Does anyone believe? I mean, the vote totals by which Biden, in theory, won are minuscule. Before you start thinking through how many Trump votes were disappeared and how many Biden votes are unlawful. And here Hillary Clinton wants to re-educate people like me who have questions about.
It's straight out of the Weather Underground. I mean, they won. Barack Obama was the Weather Underground candidate.
Right.
And the re-education camps, they said that in the 1970s.
So on our left is St. Patrick's Cathedral. The door's open, interestingly.
What is that flag and bizarre set of symbols hanging from St. Patrick's?
No idea.
The door is open, but you can't come in. Oh, there's glass there.
There's an open door to the side.
Oh, I see.
And I've never liked the store on the left here. I refer to it as Sucks Fifth Avenue, not Saks Fifth Avenue.
I don't know if I've ever been inside it.
I just, it doesn't have, it's like Bloomingdale's. Bloomingdale's, you go in and you can't get out without walking all over the place.
Right.
I've never liked that place.
Want to go through Rockefeller Plaza?
Let's keep going down Fifth. Okay. We haven't seen Fifth in a long time, so
yeah.
Show people in the middle of the day what it's like on a work day. On a, in quotes, work day.
I mean, this is, I don't know, for whatever reason, we're back to height of the pandemic type emptiness.
Yeah. I remember, certainly in December, in a good year, it used to be so busy walking down the street that you literally would have to stand still for a bit to get a space to walk. And ordinarily, what I would do is walk on the curb.
Yeah.
To try to make some progress.
So I guess they have the windows covered while they change from Christmas stuff to whatever else will be there.
Yeah, it's probably before long you'll go into a store like that. There'll be no merchandise.
Well, there's really not much point having. I haven't really been in a store like that. I spent a little time in Macy's, like on the day before Christmas, I think. But I mean, I don't know how many people are shopping at these places right now.
We're gonna go with better.
Yeah.
I gotta say that eating food from these food courts is high on my. Here's a Florida transporter. What is that?
Isn't that Jason Statham? I don't know.
Goo?
Maybe that means the license plate allows the car to be transported from Florida to here without being like registered, or I don't know. Someone will know who's watching.
Sunglass Hut. No need for them.
Oh, that's out.
I would have think, because of Biden and his stupid Ray-Bans, I would have think that the Sunglass Hut would be doing well.
It's not.
Again, I hope people aren't drinking at this time of day, but
Rubber underwear is 50% off.
That's good to know, Jason. This used to be Scribner's, great bookstore. Before that, a publishing house. I remember somebody pitching me in maybe 2015 time frame about why I should invest in a real estate fund focused on buildings right here on 5th Avenue between 57th and 42nd. And being a numbers guy, I said, well, what kind of yield should I expect on the investment? Annual yield. So these buildings don't pay yield. What do you mean they don't pay yield? It's negative. You lose money on them.
What the hell?
Because there are only so many buildings on 5th Avenue in this area, and over time they're going to go way up in value. So you should be prepared now to lose money.
And then this happens, and you're like, oh, I've been losing money for 20 years. Now's the time to lose the asset.
I think that fund is pretty much out of business.
What's this? Lao Feng Sheng.
Looks like jewelers. Looks like that's a tough sell, I would think.
I haven't noticed that before.
Me either. I mean, I think what Biden doesn't understand here, that's a long list, but one topic that he doesn't understand is the degree to which
Maybach.
Yeah, nice. The degree to which attitudes have hardened in this country against the Communist Party, except in the Democratic Party.
Well, except for the people who are communists, right?
Well, I mean, I'd say that the massive buying power is going to be easily turned in the coming years, assuming we're allowed to use phones and the mail and media and social media, whatever, which may not be a safe assumption, but assuming that we are able to express our views, I think you're going to see horror on the part of some in the Democrat Party who realize that Biden and others are enabling slavery in China and elsewhere.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, straight up, stone cold slavery. And how do you go and try to be a progressive and say, we're against slavery everywhere except in China?
What about Apple computers? They don't like Parler, but they don't mind Foxconn having nets outside the windows because people want to kill themselves from building iPhones.
Yeah, I scratched Apple off. Even though I think Apple could in time continue to be a great investment, I'm never buying a share of Apple. Never.
Yeah, I hear you. I'm not. I mean, I have a lot of Apple products, and obviously, if I don't have those, then I'm using Microsoft. So it's like.
Well, I'm talking investing, so you can use them. But I just people who would do what these Apple people have done, you just can't reward that behavior. There needs to be a competitor. Maybe that'll take a long time to come about, but no business from me.
I don't think they would be doing this if Steve Jobs were still at the helm. He was famously an asshole, but that was with regard to making things, like getting technology and computers and things made.
Malcolm X, caste system. This for those who don't recognize this is the window of Barnes & Noble. And here we have unsold copies of Barack Obama's book, which I had the misfortune of buying. It cost me $45,
Wow.
including tax. And of course, we've discussed this before. What's the first word of the book? I. And the first word
This
of
is the bookstore where James Comey, is this the one? This was either Bill Clinton or James Comey where Laura got kicked out.
I thought she got kicked out down on Union Square.
I'm trying to remember. I think I met Bill Clinton in Union Square, and I'm pretty sure this was Comey over here.
Yeah, here's digital business transformation, also known as canceling you.
Right. We don't like your business, you can't have it.
Right.
I mean, Charles, has that ever happened where competitors have colluded to shut a thing down in a day?
In a day, I don't think so. Now, Parler may come back.
How's it going to do that?
I don't know. I'm just saying, may. There's a percentage probability. This is a nice old building, actually. It's in remarkable shape.
It's the French building.
Yeah, I've been in there. Actually, one of the studios, that Independent Studios, is in there.
Are we on?
We're still
yeah,
on
that's
Fifth?
the film building, I'm pretty sure.
Is it?
Yeah, there used to be, or at one point it was, there was sound facilities, all kinds of things in there when I was in film school. I like that dog's shirt.
What does it say?
It's just a dog wearing a shirt.
Is the shirt tucked in?
He's smartly dressed.
And here we have the Louis Vuitton shop
Yeah.
and Gucci shop. Nothing but the best.
Right. Now, Charles, a few days ago, you had put up a hashtag to ditch Twitter. And
For me.
I was very enthusiastic about it, I have to say, and I share your sentiment. But the one question that I have in my mind is that, is it hurting me more than it's hurting Twitter to not use Twitter? Because,
It's not for me to decide what you want to do. And I'm not trying to encourage anybody to do anything. I'm just saying this is what I'm doing. I will not help a technocratic, sociopathic bunch of billionaires clamp down and impose a totalitarian system on the United States of America and the rest of the world. I just won't have any part of it. And if that means I go quiet for a while until we find some other way to reach me, that's so be it.
my only concern is that I'm being shut down on so many other platforms that voluntarily giving up one that's still active.
Again, I'm not asking you to do anything.
No, I'm not saying that you are. I would like to do it, but I'm just trying to weigh in my mind if it's better to do that or not do that.
I just didn't want to. I mean, they may punch me out of Twitter for other reasons, whatever. That's their prerogative. I actually think this whole contract with social media must be revisited. Certainly not under Joe Biden's tenure as president, short as that may be.
Should we go back to Pfizer? Are they on
42nd?
Just check out what's going on there?
We can, if you'd like. If you want to go down.
See what the comments are saying.
It's probably pretty over, it's a bet.
Google and Apple are trying to cut off Trump's communication with everyone. Yeah, I mean,
they're not trying; they're succeeding.
Yes, they are. So, Charles, we have much lower viewership today because
it wasn't expected at this time. I think.
No, it's because malicious social engineers have struck the Jason Goodman channel, and less people get notified, and therefore less people watch. And it's this is the goal. They don't want to rely on the law, and they don't want to rely on honest measures. They want to rely on thuggism and bullying and doing what they can do, not doing what's right or what's within the context of the law.
So they're following the pseudoscience, not the science.
I'm just saying, I see the tactics that have been used on me for the past 4 years are identical to the tactics being used against Donald Trump. And it's just becoming more and more clear as we gather more evidence and as time goes on.
Right. What?
I'm just looking at the people who are around us. And most of them I dislike. Or don't trust, I should say. I don't know if I like them or dislike them, but they're not very trustworthy.
So now we're going east. See, there are 3 shops out across the street there that weren't out recently. The Metro Cafe is gone. Is it the Metro or one of them's gone? It's either Metro or Pat. Oh, the smoke shop is next to the Metro Cafe. That's gone. That was a very famous tobacconist.
Was that
Forget the name of
Matt
it.
Sherman?
Yeah,
Oh man!
Gone.
Holy crap!
Metro, gone.
I mean, I never shop at Nat Sherman, but that is a famous old place.
I think it was a famous old place.
Was that the only one?
I don't know. Oh no. Oh no. Oh no. Oh no. Oh no. Oh no.
Yeah. That's similar to the symbol on Klaus Schwab's outfit. And the second I said, hey, look at it, the sound went out.
Just now?
Probably a coincidence, but
Did it just now?
hang on, I don't think people can hear you. I don't know if I told you this, but I lost a glove. Check. I'm not hearing anything. There we go.
Good?
Yeah. All right, so we're back here on 42nd. There's this immigrant savings bank.
Want to do that circuit again, or
What's that?
just kidding? Should we go to Pfizer and then retrace our steps all the way back and just do that until tomorrow?
No, we'll just check out Pfizer and see what's going on.
Then we can walk down maybe Madison or something.
Yeah. Well, I can't understand how Donald Trump is doing like virtually nothing at all.
Well, have there been any developments? Was he impeached?
I don't know. Let's see if people say. Something got pinned, which I do not want to be pinned.
Pinned?
Unpinned message.
Oh,
What is going on?
stop for a second.
Yeah, just because I'm trying to operate this
No problem.
gloves.
So this, where we are, is a district in New York that is in the process of going through fundamental change. We have this 60 Vanderbilt or 10 Vanderbilt, whatever it is. 10 Vanderbilt, I think, is a monumental building in front of us that took a couple, 3 years, I think, to get up and running. But it's really something. And it's,
What building is this again?
I think it's 10 Vanderbilt or 1 Vanderbilt. Well, let's cross the street while we can. 1 Vanderbilt, I guess it is. It says there 1 Vanderbilt. And it's right across from Grand Central Station, so that if you want to commute into the city, God forbid if you want to do that, from the high tax locations that are all around us, and whether in Connecticut or New York or whatever, you come out of your train and you just walk across the street and you take an elevator up to your office and there you are.
I had this other microphone on without realizing it. It was making our sound crappier. Sorry, everybody.
Okay, no problem. And across the way you have a Charles Schwab office. I like Charles Schwab, and it's a very convenient office. The only problem is it's been
Tuck in here
closed.
for 1 second, Charles.
It's been closed since March. What's wrong?
That guy.
Uh-huh. No, he was... I don't see... I see...
Life is very different now than it was 1 year ago.
Absolutely. 1 year ago, we were getting ready to go to Norway.
Oh, that's right. When did we go exactly?
I think we went at the very end of the month, like the 26th or something, or...
Wow.
I think we were, maybe it was the 22nd or the 28th or something, or in that rough time frame.
I'll tell you something. The concept of even getting on an airplane now, I wouldn't do it.
We'll marry for food.
Not an appealing offer.
That's pretty funny.
Actually, I've known some women like that.
Yeah, I don't know. That's not a trade I'd make.
Not interesting.
Now,
no.
the cops are still across the street from Pfizer
Yeah, I
things,
see
so
that.
maybe something
perhaps it
happened.
is going on. Well, the fact that they're there and still in their same posture probably means it's been peacefully transpiring.
Oh, God, that cigar.
Yeah.
Smell that? I mean, I actually generally like the smell of cigars, but that's an overpowering cigar.
Not a big cigar guy.
Yeah, it's kind of what we did in the banking world. Here's a nice empty store.
According to that sign, the inside of Grand Central Station is inspiring.
Another empty store. I think Vineyard Vines used to be in here somewhere.
It's important for people to realize the amount of traffic that a retail store in this location enjoys. And
Right.
the fact that they are out of business
Stunning.
is such a powerful indicator.
Absolutely.
And also, there would normally never be a break in the flow of people coming in and out of these doors.
Right. This, I think, this Grand Hyatt wasn't that Donald Trump's first real estate success?
Oh, I don't know. A
I
friend
think
of
it
mine
was.
had his wedding in here. It was the most amazing thing I've ever seen.
Yeah, this was a tough site, and he worked his magic to bring Hyatt in here and rejiggered traffic around the Grand Central Station.
Bolton's is out of business.
I think they're out of business, like, totally. I've seen many Bolton's locations gone.
I don't think I've
Now,
ever
there
been
is a fair crowd up there,
Good.
I think.
Perhaps we're arriving just in time to get our heads smashed in.
I hope not, Jason.
I hope not, too.
I would prefer that didn't happen.
I'm with you.
Because we've been away from this location for a good hour, haven't we?
More than that, I think.
That nice wind really is a great thing. Kind of make me feel so warm in this new coat.
So I'm going.
Any news from whether Trump was impeached?
Let's check.
Zero Hedge would probably have it.
Armed guards, fences, border windows, Washington under heavy security. Impeachment day. McConnell wants him out. Trump brand turns toxic.
20,000 troops to guard DC, up from 15.
I mean, that's like the amount you'd send into a foreign country for a war, right? Chrysler Building, Charles.
Yeah. Nice.
I do like the Chrysler Building, but you're not allowed to go in it
You're not allowed to go in at all now?
unless you have business there.
Really?
I mean, there's no observation deck or restaurant at the top or anything like that, which is strange. I mean, it could have been as much of a tourist attraction as the Empire State Building or something, but
Yeah.
it didn't.
Empire State Building now costs a fair amount to get in, to go up top. It's like, isn't it $50 or something?
I don't
or
know. I mean, the last time I went, it was probably like 20 or 30 or something. Yeah,
per
it's
person, right?
yeah.
So, there's that conglomerate that's really just eating the city up. Prime retail space available. They're doing land office business everywhere, locations everywhere. Prime retail space available.
I mean, I guess this is the Wells Fargo building. A hell of a
This
lot of
one here,
money.
Chrysler Building. I think real estate industry is pretty careful to disguise the true nature of gluts, but I got to believe this is a historic glut here in New York City. It's got to be. Would you guess that vacancy is probably double digit?
I think it has to be, Charles. I mean, the ground level
Brilliant.
retail. Yeah, it's double digits. It's not less than 10%.
Do you think it's 25%?
I think 30, 40 easily.
Huh.
And I think that office space is going to be even harder hit than retail because, you know, retail, at least if you need to go to the CVS pharmacy, you need to go there. If you have an office job and a computer and a phone,
Right.
why do you need to be in a building? To be at your house and not worry about whatever it is that people are worried about.
Huh.
Here, look, why is this closed? Newsstand in the middle of the street? Well,
Would you want to stand in the cold?
well, I mean, but normally they're all open, right? Selling cigarettes and drinks and magazines.
A number of them are closed around. I mean, I think people lost them. I mean, you have to pay
Well, probably there's no foot traffic. There's nobody buying magazines and cigarettes. What the hell is the point in being in there?
Why operate that when you can sit on the street and sell Louis Vuitton and Gucci bags and not pay taxes?
It's a different crew of people who operate the newsstands.
Yeah, I think they're mostly either Bangladeshi or Indian or Pakistani or something. Many of them.
Appears to be. That does seem like a much larger crowd there.
Yeah. See, I think the agitator knew the plan. There is a plan. That's why I don't want to get in the center of that crowd.
No, I hear you.
But let's.
We'll observe from a safe distance.
So take this guy, for example, on the button behind me on the left. My left, bike, backpack on my left, behind me.
Yeah. Easily.
Another guy with, this might be a news guy. He's certainly covered up. Almost dressed in black bloc. Yeah, this is a lot busier than when we left.
Well, that's good.
Flags flying. Little kid running around, see that?
Yeah. I think I hear Joe.
She is a power. She's from Dominican Republic?
Yes.
She's the nurse?
Is she a nurse? No. I think she told us that she originally became an activist because she lost her job. I could be misremembering that, though.
At least there are kids here. Which is... The guy with the badge on your left.
Is it a press thing?
Maybe.
No, it's not Joe. So I've died before.
Yeah.
She's never been called out like that. She's never been called out like that before, and we littered her neighborhood with pictures of her. Shame on you, Linda Rosenthal. Now people are putting pictures of her dressed up like the Wicked Witch of the Upper West Side. That's what she is. Yes, right here. So, and we came together. And
All lives matter.
yes, and I've never gotten so many shares on a posting of pictures as I have. I had like 1,000 shares on Facebook from my personal page because people were so inspired to see MAGA and Black Lives Matter come together. So if that could happen, anything could happen. We have to stop fighting with each other. I know a lot of stuff went over the weekend. Try to see past that, and outreach, like I said, is so important. I was in Washington, D.C., and like the person just said before, it was Curtis, right? It was, a lot of people are shell-shocked. A lot of people are suffering from post-traumatic stress. I myself came back shell-shocked. I couldn't even speak for 2 days from what I saw there. I saw a lot of stuff there that I never thought I would see in my lifetime. It was definitely, I truly believe that it was somewhat of a setup. I saw people walking in there peacefully, and I saw the police attack like I've never seen before. I was tear gassed and whatnot. So I've never seen anything like that before. It was scary, but I'm trying to see past it. And it gave me a different insight, believe it or not, on a lot of stuff. Like maybe it gave me somewhat of an insight on what it felt like to be on the other side of what seemed to me like the police were attacking. I mean, I'm just going to be very honest right now. So I got to see different insight on that. So in closing, please, people, use this as a way to reach out to people that might have different viewpoints than you, and making them see that we're all on the same page. We're looking out for all of humanity, not just ourselves. This is about everybody here.
Right.
So try not to let the media tell you who your enemy is. Your enemy is actually the media, the deep state, the government. It's not your fellow Americans and citizens in New York. Just try to see past that, okay? So Liberate New York is the group page. Please go to that group page. We work with freedom fighters. They're great. And the Liberty Coalition. Everybody here is on the same team. We're all in this together, okay? Thank you, everybody. My name is Kara Kashnova. You need to find me on social media.
All lives matter.
Just died on this.
All lives matter.
Can stay for a little while.
All lives matter.
Hi everybody, I'm Sue Peters, I'm a New Yorker, and I'm here as, I just want to plant this idea in your head, to keep this in your head, to follow the money. Now what I mean by following the money is, where does our money, all of the money we depend on, where does it come from? Who creates it? What they don't teach you in school, because they don't want you to know where the power comes from, the creation of the money. We have a system, it's legal unfortunately, the Federal Reserve System, the commercial banks, the banks that make loans,
USB
student loans,
cable with you.
government loans,
Actually, it wouldn't matter. I didn't bring an
loans.
extra battery.
They loan money to Pfizer. These
But I need a thing to
commercial
plug
banks.
this in.
Remember Occupy Wall Street? They were pointing the finger at the banks because that's where the power
first day I
is.
forgot about
Let
it.
me tell you the kernel of their power. You walk into a bank, you make a loan, you sign the loan agreement.
What's that end look like? Is that for an Android or an iPhone?
Dollar.
Unfortunately,
Let's put it this way. You borrow $10, they create
Yeah,
$10.
but I need a
they
USB
put it
mini
in
plug like that.
your account. You owe
That's
it
all right.
to
I'm gonna
them.
stay here
But
as
you
long as we
don't
can, and then we're gonna
owe
break
$10. You owe
I'll
$11
bring a
because it's
battery.
interest. They never create the money for the interest. They built this system. That's the kernel. They are always going to be in power because they loan $10, but you got to get $11 back to them.
Yeah.
Remember Occupy Wall Street. If you're interested in learning more about the system, go to American Monetary Institute. Thank you.
Well, it looks like it's staying pretty calm there, Charles.
Yeah, that's good. Well, if you're having difficulty, I don't want to.
Well, it's just the stabilizer battery is dead, and it makes it way harder to carry on. I can't believe I forgot to
It's all right.
bring an extra for that. But,
So here come a stream of police cars, however.
oh wow, yeah, what is that about?
They tend to do that. In the old days when they were trying to show they were in charge, they would have a monster stream of those cars going for many blocks, originate here on 42nd Street and patrol around the city just to show a show of force. I haven't seen it.
These guys are probably on their way to get a pizza.
Yeah. Well, another historic day, Jason. We won't know on this broadcast just how atrocious the vote will end up being, how many Republicans will defect and vote to impeach Trump. I think it is in-your-face gross that Nancy Pelosi would appoint Eric Swalwell to be one of the impeachment managers against Trump.
Yeah, wasn't he just being investigated for hanging out with Fang Fang?
Yeah, not hanging out, sleeping with her.
And then that just doesn't get addressed?
No, of course not. Mainstream press doesn't want to address that. They're probably all sleeping with Fang Fang's relatives.
Now wait, what are these cars
They're just
doing?
turning left. I can see the left turn signal.
Right. All right, well, let's carry on and we'll wrap it up. And
We can go down 3rd, we can go down whatever you want.
Charles, somebody created a Kickstarter for one of these stabilizer things that works without batteries. It's just like a counterweight system. It was like $40. I got it.
It doesn't work.
Not well. So I'm back to this, but I can't believe I forgot the battery.
These things happen, Jason. Wait till you get to be my age.
Yeah.
I can't even remember all the things I've forgotten.
I know.
Which stands to reason, I suppose.
And the funny thing is I have a stronger battery on the sound thing now, so this phone is 48% and we've been going for 2 hours, so
That's pretty
it's
amazing.
good.
I don't know if you
So
want to.
impeachment day, let's see what Zero Hedge says about it.
Another good one for people who have not necessarily found out about it yet is rantingly.com. Rantingly.
Wow. It says, caught on video, National Guard gearing up with rifles and riot shields at the Capitol.
Wow. Let's stop it so you can read that quickly. The other ones, just the headlines.
Oh, yeah, sure. Well, we've got...
Yeah, that's Pelosi named Swalwell.
McConnell Mall's launch. That looks like the only new
Right.
headline from this morning.
I really don't like the idea of a heavy National Guard presence at a transfer of power. We shouldn't need that. It is one of the hallmarks of this country that we haven't, with one 4-year exception, 5-year exception, had to deal with that.
Like a banana republic right there, right?
Well, I mean, let's get ready for it. I mean, there are banana republics that are better run than the United States of America, or better run than the United States of America will be under Biden. I mean,
yeah.
I mean, if you think about the approach that Hillary Clinton and Obama and others take to try to get you not to look at real conspiracies, they say they're conspiracy theories. If you just were to lay out some of the facts here, that the person who destroyed Joe Biden's initial attempt in 2016 to become president was none other than Kamala Harris, right? I mean, she basically bitch slapped him right to the ground. He was, high up in the polls. She went to be a leader, and he fell flat on his face. That guy then gets selected by Jim Clyburn, the powerful South Carolina rep, to be the nominee, and out of gratitude he decides to make sure that he's going to win, but he won't campaign. He just hides out in his basement watching his washer dryer, pretending it's a TV. And somehow this idiot, who every time he is allowed to say something, manages to say something stupid that would piss off constituents, natural constituents, this idiot has a come from behind victory, and we're not allowed to look at any of the evidence.
That's ridiculous.
Right? On the face of it, if you were to allege that he was...
Is there anybody at the rally?
Yeah, it's still going on, yeah. On the face of it, the presumption that Joe Biden is a legitimately elected, lawfully elected president of the United States is on his face laughable. And those who believe it are saying... What?
I just got an email from NYU. On Friday, Preet Bharara and Andrew Weissman will be at the NYU, the law school, talking about the crisis in Washington, which
great.
Andrew McCabe yesterday said was an orgy of violence.
He's an
and
idiot.
Also, I discovered that Andrew Weissman blocked me on Twitter, Charles.
Wow, that's an accomplishment. I put that in your profile.
I know. I must have said,
something particularly
scumbag.
apt.
Yeah. And he's like, oh no, this guy knows, I better block him. It's very difficult to operate this when it's not working.
Well, why don't we can end the broadcast, we've been going for 2 hours.
I'll keep it facing forward while we talk and walk, because we got to walk back anyway, and people will see the city.
All right.
And it's easier to do this.
Okay. Whatever's easiest for you. Here's one of those annoying electric bikes.
Back to Grand Central where everything's out of business. Let's go down...
Lex?
Yeah, Lex. We haven't done that, right?
Careful. Hexington?
I do like it that people get the hell out of the way. They're like, oh my God, no mask. Run for the hills.
Yep. This person has got to be cold.
But I mean, she just looks like a college student who's on the street. When I say these people don't look like hardened New York homeless people, I'm saying they look like they've done their laundry within the last week. They look like they're...
What is your problem?
What is this guy doing? Busy boarding up
Cadillac.
Oh yeah, I meant to ask you, Charles. Did you order your flying Cadillac?
Yeah, 6.
Did you see that?
You got to have 6 of those.
But did you see that they launched that at the Consumer Electronics Show?
How much is it?
Well, I don't know if they actually launching it is not the right word. There was a technology demonstration, sort of like we're Cadillac, and maybe this will happen in 100 years.
Oh, in 100 years, yeah.
I don't know about 100 years, but there's a lot of people talking about that type of technology. I mean, again, it could easily be done. The issue that exists right now for any of those types of vehicles is the energy density of batteries.
I think the issue is just the chaos of nutcases deciding that not only are they going to drive like idiots on the road, but suddenly they could drive...
I don't think that people would be able to fly their own devices. You would get in it and...
Just curious, what are you doing? Are you filming for a news network?
not a network, just for myself.
Oh, cool.
Thank you. She was polite enough. I thought she was going to ask us to put masks on.
Yeah.
No, we're from
would be
Google.
like you'd plug into your GPS, like, you know, I'm going to Charles's house, and it would just take off and fly you there and land.
I don't like that idea at all.
And they'll be like, oh, Charles is flying in his Cadillac. Let's reprogram it to Elon Musk's house and crash it.
Well, when at my property, I had an acquaintance who had a mini helicopter, and we were at a friend's house.
Who had that?
A friend of mine 20 years ago. A smaller than normal helicopter that could fit 2 people in it. And we were just sitting at another friend's place at a tennis court. We're playing tennis. Next thing you know, this helicopter lands right next to, oh wait, if you don't mind.
I don't know.
Right next to the tennis court in the middle of nowhere.
How's the rotor wash affect your tennis game?
It didn't affect it at all. Rotor wash,
Little
not a
top
problem.
spin?
Little helio spin or hello spin or whatever. But just so odd that you're sitting there and this, next thing you know, there's a helicopter.
Well, these are the problems of living in
the country.
Mansion country. There's another.
Out. That one's out and unlikely to come back.
Bon Salon.
These buildings will get knocked down, I would bet. Oh gosh.
You and I have done quite a bit of walking around New York City.
We have. We've documented it. You know, of course, people want to take this footage down because it's of no historical value, when in fact it's of amazing historical value potentially.
Right,
Mapo
but
tofu.
It's interesting. I think people should really consider the what's the word I'm looking for? The acrimonious nature of just the venom that these social engineers have and their hatred for me and what I'm doing to try to take this material down. I really think it's a mistake. I mean, yes, I have it backed up, but I would like to preserve the time that they've been uploaded,
Sure.
the comments that people have made. I agree, the whole entire YouTube channel is a historical document, even if you dislike me and my commentary. What is Wokuni?
What was Wokuni?
Yeah,
Kimosabe? Yeah, look at this graffiti. This is just disgraceful.
Well, it's the same attitude that those people who say, oh, you're white, you must be a Proud Boy, Nazi, racist. They just don't care. And, you know, they say these are their streets, but I wonder, these people who are destroying things and, you know, ruining other people's lives and property, what have they ever created? What have they ever done to enrich
Nothing.
other people or this city or...
There's the either embassy or consulate of Cuba.
This?
Yeah. I know because I used to live here on...
Oh, yeah, and look at the flag.
Right.
Wow, I didn't know that. So if
Yeah,
they hate Cuba,
it's permanently guarded by the police at our expense.
but if they hate Cuba so much, why do they let them have that?
I don't know. Well, I think it's a long-standing international convention that you're allowed to have. You encourage nations to have representation around the world. And that's actually the territory of Cuba, technically speaking.
Huh.
Yeah, you see that cleaner?
Yeah.
That's where Lucid Cafe used to be a newsstand. And I was in there picking up my shirts one day, on the weekend I think it was, when I looked down in the New York Times, Ivan Boesky arrested for insider trading.
Oh, yeah.
That sent shockwaves around Wall Street.
I remember hearing about that, and I was a little kid.
Yeah.
When did that happen?
It's in the 80s. I'm not sure exactly what year. But it was amazing how many of the famous people on Wall Street were just crooked as hell.
Yeah. How many lawyers are crooked as hell?
Yeah, politicians.
Now, wait a minute. This is now the Shelbourne Hotel? That used to be...
The Shelbourne, people are really going to be drunk, Jason.
Playing the drinking game of what
Right.
used to be what? Shelbourne Hotel, I thought, used to be on 34th Street. 7th
I forget. It's a common name. It's actually the hotel I like to stay in Dublin. Beautiful hotel. Not spelled exactly the same way in Dublin. But
Because the first year after I graduated NYU,
nice.
NYU took over a hotel And a friend of mine who was still in college was staying at the hotel dorm, and it was the Shelbourne, and he had figured out a way to
Put room service on it?
No, he had hooked up either a VCR or some sort of piece of equipment to the hotel TV that you normally wouldn't have, and it allowed him to get all the porn for free. So that was a big attraction.
What is he doing now?
He's a composer. I mean, you know, we were 20 or whatever, but now he's a very successful guy in Hollywood.
Good. So now this is Murray Hill. We're on Lexington headed south. It was a very nice place to live if you don't have children. You don't need to take them to school because there are no close by private schools that I know of. Could have changed since I had kids in school. But it's a very convenient place to live if you want to live in this hellhole or Shythole. Shythole.
Not even me, you know.
That's something.
Well, I'll tell you, we crossed a substantial milestone on Sunday.
Yeah, I agree.
When we realized that the NYPD will not protect you. It's very dangerous. Wait a minute. This might be the CFR.
No.
36? No?
No.
What
It's
is
on
this?
Park. I don't know. That's just a home, I guess, private home. But no, the CFR
That's what I was thinking about with those stairs.
No, the CFR is definitely off Park Avenue in the 60s, unless it's moved.
I think that car's engine was interfering with the thing.
Really?
It felt like as it was revving, we were getting some static. I don't know. I could be wrong. But yeah, I mean, we crossed a milestone on Sunday. The notion that the police, I mean, we knew it, but it's one thing for me not being actively attacked to say, hey, can you go arrest that guy over there? And they're like, we didn't see it.
Right.
You're obviously not injured. You're two guys here.
Right.
We don't really want to hear about it. But I mean, for a frantic young woman who
It's
obviously
outrageous.
was in distress to be turned away by the police, I mean, if anything serious had happened to Tara, what the hell would the police say? Or if
Call 911.
Right.
That's what they'd say. Grand opening, 20%
But
off.
we hear about all of these, you know, atrocities and, you know, all of these, you know, racial or gender-based disruptions with the police, but nothing about what happened to Tara. Minimal, unless you're looking at Fox News or OAN or Crowdsource the Truth. Or her own channel.
Does she have a channel?
She does, and it's growing.
Yeah, we should comment about Fox News. They announced a shakeup of their lineup, which they do every year. And they demoted Martha McCallum from having a 7 o'clock show to having a 3 to 4 o'clock show. And they demoted Dana Perino from being a host of her own show to having to share a longer time slot with Bill Hemmer in the morning.
Now we are getting static over here.
We
and
will.
Given all the battery death and
right.
everything, if the
Sign
show,
off?
well, no, we'll keep it going. But if it ends, we won't restart it.
Okay.
And if people want to sponsor Crowdsource the Truth, please go to subscribestar.com/crowdsourcethetruth or patreon.com/crowdsourcethetruth. And don't forget the Counter Lawfare Fund. You know, the social engineers are just digging in, and they won't give up. And again, I say it's similar to what they're doing to Trump, Charles. You know, when he's down, they want to pile on the legal charges. They want to pile on the impeachment. They want to destroy his businesses. This is exactly what social engineers have been trying to do to me for 4 years. So people who want to send a message to social engineers that you can't do that can go to crowdsourcethetruth.com and sponsor the Counter Lawfare Fund. There are all these different levels, and they include different gifts, annual subscriptions, etc. So please become a sponsor, and we'll keep going right now, but if and when we get disconnected due to interference, we'll just leave it at that.
Well, I'm hoping that we can get to 33rd Street and then walk down 33rd Street. And then we'll be canceled on 33rd Street.
Just a lot of radio stuff. Oh, it's probably that guy probably has a radio on him.
Probably. We got the light.
Okay.
Got to take what we can get.
This is just, I don't know. I'm really distressed.
Yeah, it's a monumental fuck up. That's for sure. It was. I mean, I think President Trump and his administration accomplished a lot of good things, and got the economics back on a roll because they understand business. This team is school of thought. Remember when Barack Obama and Joe Biden said, Obama first said, when it comes to business, you didn't build that.
Right.
You know, the idea being that the business wouldn't be there if government wasn't there first. Now, speaking as a proud, not boy, but man, and a descendant of pioneers all over this country, frankly, all over the world, I can tell you, and you can look into the history, there was no government when these pioneers went out, arrived in certain places, and it was through their courage and after different conflicts and battles that ultimately these new places became thriving operations. In fact, when you look at the early history of America, the early settlements at Plymouth and Virginia were socialist communist failures. Land was communally owned. Tribute was sent back to the king, and they all failed. You know, most of them failed, the English ones. And it was only after 1625 that when private property became a thing and merchants were encouraged or motivated to come settle places like Virginia, that ultimately real enterprises eventually took shape, not because of government, but because of private activities.
Well, I can tell you as somebody who has started several and been involved with several small businesses, the government has almost always been a hindrance.
Of course. Of course.
Labor department audits and...
Especially, well, that's a nice car, huh?
That is.
Especially in a place like here, where you've got Manhattan government, you've got city government, you've got state government, you got regional government, you got the UN, you got federal government.
And by the way, Charles, I mean, looking back on that, historically speaking, the amount of tax that I've paid in this state and this city through my various businesses and personal tax and sales tax. And now what? What are they giving me? No police protection, mandatory vaccination against a disease that I don't have and I'm not afraid of getting.
Attitude is what they're giving you. You woke up and just discovered that you are pwned, personally owned.
Yeah.
A phrase my kids taught me a while back.
Well, you know, that's Matt Tate's Twitter handle.
Is it really?
Pawn all the things.
Really?
Yeah. And that's who Ben Wittes, when I was asking him, why do you guys keep ignoring evidence that suggests that Peter Smith was murdered? He was like, oh, Shane Harris and Matt Tate, look at this. And I was like, that's interesting. Why are you tweeting it at those guys? I didn't mention either of them. Co-conspirators, perhaps?
Yeah, well, remember, Matt Tate was introduced to Peter Smith. Shane Harris was introduced to Peter Smith.
Saffron?
By Saffron in the immediate aftermath of Trump's winning the election. But I'm not sure exactly when the introduction happened. I think it was after Trump was inaugurated, but before Comey was fired.
Right, so they're all in on that. And that's the Brookings Institute, which is now, you know, promoting Bot Sentinel and Michael Cohen. And by the way, I think Bot Sentinel was behind the deplatforming on Periscope. I don't have evidence of that, but the guy made a promise that he was going to make me his hobby, and then deplatforming happened. All this stuff is in their favor now.
Right.
Not that the law is in their favor. You know, oh my God.
What?
Well, here's a stupid rabbit on this guy's.
Q?
Yeah. Huh. I got to say, for
you want
the
to
people
stop
that
there
are,
and get some Juul?
No. But Charles, the other phenomenon that's happening is that there's a small number of people who are emailing me and, you know, they're upset that I'm speaking out against the 17th letter of the alphabet and the cult-like following that it inspired. And I am without words for people who still do not realize that that is a trap. There are a number of people who say that they do realize that now and that they feel duped, and that's the appropriate way to feel, because in my view it was designed by the enemy to identify the most gullible and least capable of thinking for themselves among us, those that are down for where we go one, we go all, even when you don't know where the guy at the front of the line is going or who he is. And I am not into that at all.
Yeah,
I don't pledge allegiance to people that I do not know.
I don't pledge allegiance. I mean, I pledge allegiance to this country, but...
Right, but not to unknown, anonymous things that are leaving little mystery clues on the internet. I mean, that is just idiotic. It has been from the beginning. And when I look back at the people that have tried to falsely associate me with it, it's the same people that are suing me. It's George Webb's brother. It's Jason Burmis, who put out a video claiming that I profiteered off of Q, which everybody knows. I've always said it's stupid from the first day it arrived. I don't know that Jerome Corsi has spoken at all about it, but I'd be interested to know how he feels about it now. He was out front there. The first time I ever heard about it was coming from Tracy Beans, and people still trust these people after they've...
Trust but verify.
Right.
Always makes sense. Sorry.
That's right. So here's another one of these, you know...
Fire traps.
Yeah, outside, indoor spaces that make no scientific or logical sense.
Pour your own beer. I don't think so. Yeah.
There's another wood-fired pizza place. I've never been in there, but...
Wood-fired kitchen, huh?
Well, I guess it's pizza. I don't know.
And these bicycle racks taking up parking spaces. I mean, who uses a bicycle in this kind of weather?
Well, and I'm sure it's safe to just hose off a garbage truck in the middle of a allegedly deadly pandemic and let all that crap just run in the street.
Sure.
Those guys look like...
You gotta feed the rats.
Yeah. Specialized medical.
The bubble suit.
Right. Just nothing about this approach makes any sense. And after 10 months, people who fail to question it, it's just...
nice garbage over there.
Let's make a left here on 5th, because it's in the 30s on 7th that we have the problem.
We're way past 37, we're on 32.
Oh, I thought this place had gone out of business, but it's still there. Korean chicken restaurant. But Wendy's went out of business back a block up across.
Did it really?
Which I found surprising. I was like, how does a corporate... First of all, how's that little kid not freezing?
I don't know. No mask. Chongquanjiang. I wonder what that is.
I was very surprised that a corporate fast food place would go out of business.
Look, it could be a franchisee.
Charles, look at this. This outdoor restaurant has a water feature.
Wow.
That's quite interesting, isn't it?
Korean
People are
barbecue.
literally trying to make these street installations into their uniquely decorated restaurants.
They're cooking out here.
What do you mean? Oh, wow. How can you run a barbecue inside? No, that's got to be just to keep it at night, right? If you turn that on inside there, it's definitely going to burn the thing down.
I would guess. No, this is the Korean Ginseng Museum. People come from all over the world to visit that museum.
That's the Ginseng Museum Cafe. They say it keeps the yang up, Charles.
Is that what it does?
I think that's the purpose. I don't know.
I thought that was rhinoceros horn.
I don't know.
Supposedly. Look at this contraption.
That's what I mean. They're getting increasingly elaborate, and also, this is just fully enclosed. How is it not a restaurant?
Sorry.
It's all right. These plastic windows, there's no ventilation that's visible. I'm not criticizing this restaurant. I'm saying someone has obviously made a series of guidelines for how you can construct these things, and it does not adhere to science or logic.
There's the hat place that I thought went out, Stetson.
That's next to my eyeglasses place, the
have-
JJ Hat Center.
I'll have to go get me a Stetson to go with the coat.
Yeah. Hey, look at this. This is what I'm talking about. Look at this. It's a house on the street.
It's big.
But I mean, why not just be in there?
It's crazy, man. Fucking crazy.
I mean, there is a statute that says you're not allowed to play music that's 7 decibels over ambient sound.
Silly, Jason.
But they are
There is a
allowing all that
statute, but
stuff.
there is no law enforcement, so statutes
That's
don't
what I'm
matter.
saying.
All statutes don't matter.
It's just absurd.
There's another construction project. I'm sure people will be flocking in to live and rent spaces here in the city, what's left of the city.
How do you like that across the street, Sean?
That looks appealing.
Looks great.
Yeah,
I'll
something
take it.
I might Yeah, could you move that over to Greenwich for me?
Kind of like that. Oh, the guy's painting them right here. I like that kind of stuff.
Do you? Boy, this used to be to the trade textile showrooms and stuff. I guess they must be turning this into condos. They've done it with some other buildings down here.
Just turn it into a pile of bricks. Leave it there.
Oh boy. Yeah, this part of the city seems a little bit more vibrant, actually.
Well, I mean, to be fair, Midtown is kind of more businesses and offices, and here we're a little bit more residential. But this looks like more fiber optic cable going into the ground or something.
I don't know.
Maybe not fiber optic.
Well, if it is true that Mitch McConnell is now leaning towards convicting Trump.
What an amazing betrayal, right? What a faker that asshole is.
Yeah.
How could anybody ever believe anything he says?
Yeah, I don't. It's just...
Like, I was your friend the other day, but now I support impeaching you.
He's just getting ready to operate his cash register in the minority. Because he can, as minority leader, if he is a minority leader, he can sell his vote, basically. Sell Republican votes that are needed to get legislation across the line. It's a despicable human being.
Yeah. I guess the
In
sample
quotes.
sales are over.
Should we go to make the light?
Sure, yeah.
This is the Marble Collegiate Church, which is actually very famous. Norman Vincent Peale. Is Norman Vincent Peale? Somebody Vincent Peale. Want to keep going this way or down 5th?
Whatever you want to do.
Yeah, let's go down 5th. It's pretty.
Nice sun. I think that this section of the video will cause people to appreciate how effective the stabilizer is.
Yeah. The sample sale is on, Jason, I think.
Is it? So where's the line? This thing had a line around it every single
maybe
day.
it's out.
They had the samples. Oh, it's gone. Yeah.
Shop up to 75.
No, wait a minute. It still
open.
says open, and it's well. So why is there nobody here today?
Because they have different. Sometimes they have.
Oh, it's super dry now, and I guess they don't like super dry.
Yeah.
People want to be super wet.
Nice retail space next to a derelict oyster restaurant.
Well, I'm glad there was a good turnout for the Pfizer protest.
And I'm glad there was no violence, at least that we saw.
Yes.
Although there did seem, to my eyes, to be a number of possible agitators.
They're just watching to see who's there, is it growing? I mean, it's interesting to note that when they announce a protest, we don't go there to disrupt it.
Yeah.
We just walk near it and they attack us.
Right. We just walk and people give us grief. But a lot of those people who are giving us grief are themselves grief-ridden or grief-saddled
I
people.
think that's it.
It was like the guy who entered into words with you at the beginning of the broadcast.
He turns around and he's staring at us with a face on, and I ask him, is everything okay? And he's like into creating a problem.
Right. This used to be a thriving business, Benjamin Moore. I think Benjamin Moore, from memory, the paint piece of it is owned by Berkshire Hathaway. I may have that wrong.
Wow.
And here we go, Arrow Beep, New York Mail, New York City virtual office on the second floor. In case anybody's looking for a virtual office in a city nobody wants to visit anymore. I mean, why would you have a virtual office here?
I don't know.
I'd have a virtual office in Aspen.
That's got to be Chinese Cafe Bank, right?
No, the Museum of Sex.
That I've been into. It's not Chinese as far as I know. It's not that interesting. I mean, it's okay, but it sounds more exciting than it would be.
Did you go to Super Funland?
I don't think that was there. I don't know if that's part of it or something else, but
that is like...
I think I went there with Vanessa on a date.
Did you really?
Yeah. I mean, it's a funny place to go. It's not like, I mean, obviously, some people wouldn't find it interesting, but it's not like, as I recall, it's not like hardcore porn in there. It's
right.
like, you know, history of this or that particular
thing.
Like, yeah, nude photography in the 1800s or whatever.
Right.
They had some display of like really bizarre, some guy who was making contraptions or whatever.
Let's stay away from this
check
gentleman
it out if
here.
they ever come to New York.
Let's go over this way. We'll get into a discussion with him.
The sliding door company is now completely closed off with wood.
Yeah.
So it's
old-fashioned
plywood door company.
That's right. There are a number, sadly, of people in wheelchairs, homeless people, including there's one who uses the wheelchair as a prop, and then if you disrespect him or whatever, he jumps
He gets up out of it and
he punches you.
Wow, you've seen him punch people?
A friend of mine was punched.
Holy crap!
And I've seen the guy around. I haven't seen him recently, actually. There was one woman who had lost a portion of her leg who would be right around here all the time.
Wow.
Should we make a right here?
Sure. We're just about at the end of the walk here, so I think I will end it because my arm is feeling quite tired.
Okay.
But we'll just switch around here to say adios. Whoops. All right, everybody, have a good day. We'll see you soon.